Can I open them?
All right. Now.
I can't believe it.
All right. Now, to start off, I want you to read these books. All of them? That, my boy, is a mountain of knowledge.
I checked this out weeks ago for a bit of light reading.
This is light.
Consider this your passport to the wonderful and quite unpredictable world of books.
Welcome back. We're back. Looks at Books is back. I know it's been a long time. I've been reading, in case you haven't figured. Always reading. The last thing I read, which was really good, I wanted to talk about because this book I really got into, Team of Rivals, subtitled "The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln," and it's by a Pulitzer Prize-winning author named Doris Kearns Goodwin. The prize she won was for Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, The Home Front in World War II. No Ordinary Time is the main title. But she's a best-selling author. She's written other history books. It's the way she writes is not like a textbook per se. It's more like a personal history of these larger-than-life figures from American history. Lincoln here, he is let me pull this up real quick. Lincoln is surrounded by his rivals. He takes them into his cabinet because he knows these people are competent. They can do their jobs well. He needs them, especially because the country has gotten so divided over things like the slavery issue. The southern states are already seceding from the Union by the time he gets elected. They can see the writing on the wall, like this is coming to a breaking point. They're trying to keep the country together, and up until the end of the Civil War, failing. Like they're just getting hit from all sides by the southern states, and he doesn't know. He's constantly getting advised by all these different people because he wants to see all sides of these arguments. Like how do we capitulate to the southern states without them, gloating over it, without us actually losing? Like, how do we compromise? He's always looking for a compromise in any given situation. So the main players that Goodwin focuses on are Lincoln himself, William Henry Seward, his who ends up being his Secretary of State, Salmon Chase ends up being the Secretary of the Treasury, and Edward Bates, who I don't believe Bates actually ends up on the cabinet, but he's constantly. Hold on, I could be wrong about this. I'll look it up real quick. This part I'll probably have to cut out. Cool. Oh yeah. Bates was the Attorney General. Bates ends up becoming his Attorney General, and the guy all the way to the left is Edwin Stanton, who becomes the Secretary of War. I was going to bring it up later, but the movie Lincoln focuses a lot on the passing of the 13th Amendment, and you get some insight into these men like Seward and Stanton, their attitudes toward Lincoln and toward slavery and the war, and their relationship with him. Stanton and Seward become his closest friends and allies in the cabinet. And Salmon Chase, while he does make a good Secretary of the Treasury, he's constantly during Lincoln's tenure trying to vie for the presidency himself because the three guys, Bates, Seward, and Chase, were all uh, candidates alongside Lincoln for the Republican nomination. And while Seward was like the clear favorite, Lincoln came out of nowhere. This Illinois lawyer, this hick guy, didn't get formal schooling. He taught himself. He read a lot of books. He just read anything that he came across, including Shakespeare. He'll constantly quote Shakespeare and uh, and other things. This guy, this upstart, comes out of nowhere and just uh, clinches the nomination. To the rest of these guys' dismay, like of course they're broken up about it. They're disappointed. I say broken up, but they still go on with their lives. They got their own families they're dealing with. See, it goes into their personal lives as well. This book, so you're getting the perspectives of these four guys, and then she uses direct quotes from people that knew them and either kept diaries or wrote letters, So we're getting direct quotes from people that lived around these people. Elizabeth Keckley, we get, uh, she was Mrs. Lincoln's dressmaker, a former slave, and she's now working at the White House. So she's witnessing a lot of their personal squabbles, their personal um, tragedies, and how they deal with them. And so we get a lot of insight into how these men behaved and how they conducted themselves, what went on within the White House. It's a very telling, very interesting look into the goings on in Washington at this time. It's uh, I can't recommend this book enough. Especially if you're a Civil War buff, if you're uh, at all interested in what went on during the Civil War, and it's multifaceted. You don't just see like the northern perspective. You see a lot of the southern perspective comes in too, like how they saw the North and how they saw the institution of slavery. Like there weren't just abolitionists trying to get rid of slavery like altogether. There were people that thought it was necessary, and then there were some that wanted to get rid of it, but they didn't want to rid of it right away. They wanted it to gradually go away. And Lincoln was one of those guys where he thought, okay, we may not be able to get the black vote or black jobs right away, but we can at least free them if we pass this amendment. So the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery is passed before his second term is out. Like he's just gotten elected to his second term, and he knows like this is my last chance. Okay, if we don't do it now, it may not get done for another 100 years. Because he's seen how people view black people, a lot of them, and knows that if we don't do this now, like we may not get another chance. Like because they may put somebody in here after me that's just staunchly against having black people being able to vote or hold jobs, other than being slaves. So he gets enough people on his side that want the same thing, but for different reasons, and that's how he's able to accomplish this. They offer. You'll see in the Lincoln movie if you watch it by Spielberg. Uh, Daniel Day Lewis plays amazing Lincoln. You'll see that he offers jobs to people that just lost their Senate and Congress seats. in order to get their favor for the vote, to get them to vote the way he wants. So it's a lot of political maneuvering, some subterfuge, preventing the peace delegates from getting to Washington before the vote can can be passed. The amendment can be passed, and it's just a very fascinating look into the mind of this man and the mind of the people around, the minds of people around him. It's such a good book. Again, cannot recommend it enough. If you haven't read it, pick it up. It's uh, it's thick. It's like 700 something pages, but I swear you would not be able to put this down. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you.